We welcome you into today's American Rewind, and we're going to look back at the 2016 win from the Houston Cougars when they beat Louisville that year, when, of course, Louisville had Lamar Jackson. But the punter for the Houston Cougars, or at least the guy who was the punter for the Houston Cougars, Dane Roy, joins us today here on the American Rewind. And I say that because after 4 years at the University of Houston, Dane is now ready to graduate to the NFL, yet COVID-19 hits. He's from Australia, so of course there's all kinds of travel issues in his personal life. So Dane, first of all, welcome to the American Rewind, and let's start with just how complex have the last couple of months of your life been trying to get to the NFL and dealing with the pandemic at the same time?
Well, let me just tell you, it's been an absolute whirlwind last couple of months. The last 6 months have been pretty unreal anyway. Like January, I was back in Houston and I was training, and a new Aussie came in, Lane Wilkins. He's now the Aussie at Houston, so he's taken over my job there. And then I flew back to Australia in February and saw all my mates and all that. And then I got married at the start of March. Luckily, there was no restrictions, but then like 2 weeks later, everything was just locked down. And then had a chat to my agent. He's like, probably just stay back in Australia at the moment because there's going to be no pro day. There's going to be none of those workouts in April that we all wanted. And then May came around. He goes, oh, things are opening back up, but we're not looking too good for a while. But I wanted to get over to the States anyway because a few teams were like, oh, he's in Australia, we don't want to do anything just yet. So I came over to America, but now looking back, I probably came over a bit too early because everything's still locked down. So, it's been a whirlwind last couple of months. I did long distance for 4 years with the missus, and then after we got married, Melbourne went into a lockdown, so I spent like 24 hours a day with her for like 2 months. And now we've gone back to long distance because she needed to stay back and work while I lived out an NFL dream over here.
So let's go back to 2016. Houston beats Louisville 36-10. And we've talked about you kicking 1-for-1 for 15 yards in that game. Take me through what that was like, hucking the football instead of kicking it.
Well, we practiced that pass for like practices every week building up to that. Like they always had it in their arsenal ready to pull out. They didn't quite know when to use it, and it accidentally was brought out in this game because I think Coach Tom Herman at the time didn't know what the down was. He didn't know what the distance was. He's like, oh, I thought it was 4th and 3 or something like that. So he's called out. He goes, we'll go, I think we called it zebra or something. And so they go, zebra. And we're on the sideline. And I'm running out going, oh, I get to throw it. But it was only if the guys on that side moved over and followed the other guys. So if you look at the video, you've got your equal side, and then they moved over right at the last second. So I'm like, I'm just going to throw it anyway. Like, stuff this. And then right as he's about to snap it, all those guys move over to the other side. I'm like, oh, I'm on here. And then Byron, during practice, sometimes I would hit like absolute laser beams and hit him. Other times it would just be a lollipop, just dobbed over the top. And I think a couple of times I just missed him altogether. So they were confident enough I was going to make the pass. So like right as he's about to snap it, the other team were like, oh, what's happening? And then I think they all just moved and followed. And then as it got snapped to me, I rolled out to kick it, like a pretend kick as what I meant to do to sell it. And I looked up and there's no one there for him. So I just hit him. I looked back on the video. I'm like, how did I do that? And then as he caught it, all of a sudden there's 2 guys there. I'm like, geez, these guys are quick. I didn't realize how quick they were. But Byron caught it and he made the first down. And I remember that they said, whatever you do in games, don't ever put your hands up like that because you don't want to be a palms up guy. But I couldn't help it. I was like, was that it? Was that it? That's what you wanted me to do? But, it was pretty funny. I look back on it. I'm like, I don't know how I did that, but I got really lucky. And yeah, I'm glad they didn't intercept that, or I'm glad they didn't drop it. But if I threw it quicker and like more direct, we could have had a touchdown there.
And that would have been the real note to have there, would have been the touchdown pass. Hey, take me back to that night. You're running trick plays up 24-0. The joint is jumping. Do you remember that atmosphere?
Yeah, that was one of my all-time favorite games. It's either that game or my first ever game where we beat Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, so like the kickoff started. We kicked it in, they took it back out, and then it was, I think, Jordan Milburn or one of the players just absolutely smacked into the kick return, and the ball came free, and then we jumped on it. And then all of a sudden, the crowd is already jumping. I think we've got Waka Flocka Flame in the house, and there's lasers, smoke shows everywhere before the game. We were all pumped up. We're in dark, and we were in dark grey. And like that already, everyone's jumping up like, oh, we get to wear this. It's a Thursday night. We're playing like top 5 team. So people were like already just on unstoppable. And then you start off with the kick, and the kick return gets spilled, and we have the ball 10 seconds later. 10 seconds into the game, we score a touchdown. Greg Ward throws to Tyler McCloskey, I think it was, or Duke Catalon. And all of a sudden, we're up 7 points in within 10 seconds. And then, yeah, you add in that, we just kept scoring. We kept sacking Lamar Jackson. The crowd is going off. And I'm so glad it happened. They ran on the field after the game. It was one of the best feelings ever, because previous to that, SMU ran on the field after they beat us. And then Navy, to start off that, Navy beat us in Navy, and they ran on the field. And I was like, oh, my God. Finally, we get a chance for the fans to run on the field. And my wife was there at the time, and I met her in the middle of the field out of like 42,000 people. I found her, and we got a nice picture together. But it was just me picking her up and hugging her. But it was one of the best feelings ever. And she always talks about that game, and it's pretty cool.
All right, now the typical American in me has to ask you, it's almost like by law that I have to ask you this. So if it doesn't work out in the NFL, is Australian rules football a possibility for you? Or is that like me asking you the difference between like a Twix and a Snickers for someone from Australia?
My team, where I just came from, Richmond Centrals, is in the amateurs, and you're not allowed to get paid to play there. So it's more of a love of the game. And then if you get to a certain age, like 35 or 40, they've got like masters football where you can play against other older people. So you're not playing against the young guys who are like taking advantage of the slow-moving old guys. But I'll have a chat to the wife and see if I can get some time off every now and then and play some Aussie rules football when I go back. But I'd love to play with my mates and win a premiership, or as you would call it, a championship. And but at the same time, I think might have to stick to golf, get it a bit more like a slower game when I'm getting a bit older.
So, Dane, last thing for you. Now that your career at the University of Houston has wrapped up, give me what would be the memory burn moment for you that, regardless of where you're at in your life, when you look back at this moment in time at the University of Houston, when I say that to you, what's that moment that comes to mind?
It starts off when I walked down my first ever game at NRG Stadium against Oklahoma. When I'm walking down the Cougar Walk before the game and just seeing like the stadium, there's like 2,000 people there just cheering us on. And my parents were there as well with my wife. And it was just like one of the best feelings ever. And it's just an amazing experience. Like we never experienced a college football game before. And then we ended up winning it. Like that's one of the best memories. And then I look back to my last game. I didn't even get to punt, but it's still definitely in my memory. We played Navy, and I ran out. I was the last person on senior night. I had the Australian flag draped around me, and I got to see all my family and friends down the end of the field when they do the senior night thing, and that kind of summed up the whole experience. And just like, hey guys, we did it. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Good
luck in your endeavors in getting to the National Football League and whatever the future holds for you. Dane, thanks for joining us today on the American Rewind and sharing your thoughts on that big win in 2016, and good luck to you. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me.